Welcome to Meet the Polymaker. I am your host, Joel, also known as Sick Joel today, so bear with me with the nasally sounds and the occasional mutes while I cough. But with that said, welcome to the show, everybody. We are here every week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, and we're here to talk about a lot of things. 3D printing stuff, show off some prints from our community, and ultimately meet the latest maker of the week. So we've been going strong. I think we're just a little... I think 4 weeks or 5 weeks away from 12 months consecutive, never missing a show. Definitely all live. Today is live for sure. Just to prove it, I'm going to read chat here. The Shrimp Father 13, Clown Hammer, not bad. Got a pork loin in the smoker. Just started some prints, having a beer and trying to chill. There you go. Can't get much more real than that, can we? So for those that are new here, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to type in I am awesome, which that's off a little bit. Yeah, it is off a little bit. Wonder what happened there. Let's move it up. There we go. Type in I am awesome in the chat. That's going to give you a chance to win a spool of filament at the end of the show. We do that every episode, sometimes more than one, but always try to give something away here. But get that entered in there. See a nice entry in there for somebody. But yeah, other than that, like I said, we're here to have a show, and let's just get it going with the news. First up, we have affordable bioprinting. Now, do most of us need the bioprinting in homes? Probably not. Maybe it's a fun thing to do, but a team at Stanford has actually been able to develop a $250 cost bioprinting machine. This means a lot of different things for the medical field. So there's tons of expensive machines out there for bioprinting, and that's used in a lot of things with medical and medicine testing, tissue generation to be able to test results of different medications, different viruses and everything on tissue rather than have to test on real people. So it also helps with creating new material, but that's always been inaccessible to the lesser funded groups or research teams, which are often filled with very bright people that might have a different outlook on something that could find something if they had the necessary tools. They have developed this with under the supervision of Mark Schuyler Scott, who is the head of their lab there at Stanford. And he's one of the most renowned names in bioprinting. So this printer that they've created is an open source bioprinter. It basically allows customizable options, scalable options, and it's available for you to download and print yourself if you would like. Material wise, I'm not sure what all it takes in bioprinting to start printing stuff, but Printis.org. The printer itself is the Printis is the name, but PRINTESS.org. You can find the files there, more information about the device there. But it's able to, they said it's not limited in functions, and it can create soft tissues and develop new biomaterial. So a pretty neat step, like I said, for medical to have it just more accessible to a lot more people. Next up, we have BMW in the automotive industry, 3D printing stuff. Nothing new. We've heard that many times before, but typically what we see the 3D printed stuff in is for testing, fitment, prototyping, and everything else. Now it's actually used it's going to be used in a final production piece of a BMW vehicle. I didn't specify which vehicle, but this is going to be a center console. It's size-wise going to be around 300 by 300 by 100 millimeters, and it takes about 3 hours and 40 minutes to print. Again, this is a 3D printed piece that is going into the final vehicle, not a piece that's going to do print and then cast or anything of that nature. And the reason for this is it allows a lot of different shapes and everything to be done. This one has an integrated air duct in it that normally would require a lot more tooling and old school methods to develop and put into several pieces. Now they can print it as one piece, put it in there, be done with it. It's set for production in 2027, so we're still a little bit off there, but they have committed to it. They're using Acro plastics, Acromid PA11 material, made of 40% recycled carbon fiber. Right now they're looking to produce, once they start, about 18,000 pieces annually. So that's a big run for especially 3D printing. But again, it's cool to see it now more in a final product rather than testing and development. And then we're going to talk about some new type of, well, it's not even new. They've had it for a little while now, but 3DX Tech has their SimuBone filament. And what it is, it's a bone simulating filament. And it has the same characteristics as bone. So feel, characteristics of how it breaks and feels and bends before it breaks. So it's a really cool material that people have used for different options, but there's actually a Reddit user that has kind of sparked it, back up into the news of using it as a sample test rib for planning surgeries. Said it's one of the closest things that you can find, especially in 3D printing, that feels like bone, reacts like bone, has the same bending modulus as bone does before it breaks. User feedback says it feels mostly like the real thing also from multiple other users. With that, they're doing the ribs and then doing cartilage, and they're testing different TPUs to simulate cartilage. And again, for testing, planning surgeries before they're breaking up to open somebody to start, sawing away, cutting away, or whatever kind of a surgical matters they are in tow. It helps them do that on something fake before they cause major damage to someone real, obviously. This is not cheap filament. It's about $98 per 750 grams. So not super crazy, but the user Reddit, or Reddit user, which I thought I had his name on here. Actually, I think here we go. Pectus Surgeon also said one thing he noticed was some of the wood PLA has kind of the same characteristics if you're wanting to simulate bone in a cheaper matter. But he said, especially for professional, highly suggest the Simubone by 3DX Tech. And then we're going to talk about automotive yet again. This is going to be an F1. I know there's some F1 fans out there. Ford, which I didn't even know Ford had an F1 car. You usually hear McLaren, Ferrari, etc. But Ford team is now 3D printing parts for the 2026 Red Bull F1. The team has already printed over 1,000 parts in preparation for the debut in 2026. Borrowing methods from aerospace. Obviously, there is a lot of science that goes into these F1 cars. Every little adjustment they can make to get a split second off of a time, off a lap, off of the handling, the control, makes a difference, and they're fine-tuning it to every little nook and cranny as they can. 3D printing, of course, is going to help that, or it has helped that. It continues to help it. They've developed many complex metal and polymer parts that have been tested under extreme conditions. Obviously, these cars are going 200 plus miles per hour. These things have to hold up. They can't just be your general PLA parts and hope that it holds up as the heat builds up, the friction and the wind resistance. A lot of factors go into it. So there's much testing, and the testing involves starting out with 3D scanning to test the strength and everything of the item. Then it goes to what they call their non-destructive evaluation team, which scans them with their fancy scanners. And then it goes to metrology, which measures for accuracy and precision. So again, where we see it all over the place in automotive, well, we're seeing 3D printing all over the place everywhere, but just a cool place to see now in F1 racing, and again, for final product, even for final usage. And last up, we're going to talk about Tinkercad. A lot of us have played with Tinkercad, whether we got started on it or just go to it for your kind of general customization of parts and pieces and models. Now have taken the next step on to becoming more, I want to say complex, because they've still kept the basic UI, but and still not the complexity of your Fusion 360 and things like that. But they've added their sketch workspace. It's allowing editing and adjusting of with a variety of tools, such as they can actually allow to making corners, smoothing surfaces, connect straight lines and curves, and again keeping that scaled down UI. And the biggest thing, still keeping it free. So they're adding those features, and like I said, it's the step in the right direction of, not adding complete complexity and allowing people to use these new tools, see how they work, and then getting used to them, and then kind of adding another feature. So I like that stair stepping that they're doing, as long as they continue it. But to find that, all you have to do is open Tinkercad, and then when you're wanting to pull up a model or anything, you just select the pen tool, and that is the workspace, or the sketch workspace, that allow you to do a lot more modifications. But that is it for all the news today, and we're going to move to the community print highlights. And first up, we're going to see a print by Hadron of the community. It's a decorative basket. It is designed by James the printer and available on Maker World. Obviously, this one's using a rainbow gradient filament, which looks awesome. He had about 4 pictures on this. If you go to our Discord at discord.com, discord.polymaker.com, you'll see our show off prints channel. You can see everything there. But the light, when it hits it in different ways, actually works really well with the way the weave is. Almost has a glow to it without being a glow. But thanks for the print. Next up, we're going to see a print that is also functional, which is for the Cocoa Press. This is a print that was done by More 3D Creations. and it is the Cocoa Press 1.0 extruder by Plant Tech. I think Plant X Tech. Not sure how they actually go about pronouncing it, but I wanted to make sure that I did something right here. I always like to give credit where credit is due, and it's not. I thought that I knew I had it wrong. It's by Amiglow, so I apologize for getting the credit wrong there. That was from let's get this right. That was from last week, I believe. This is who it's actually from. That's who printed it, but available on printables for free. If you have a Cocoa Press and you want to print a really cool design, it went with candy cane design, which, you know, what's a better idea than that for a Cocoa Press? So thanks again for sharing. Next up, we have a print by Kaggle 6545 SC.0097. I'm sure those all have meanings to all of it. I'm not sure what that might be, but this is the Glory from Wings of Fire model designed by John Freund Racing and available on printables. I think on this one, they did state that they printed the wings separate, but the colors look great. That blue, green, the red wings. So just a great choice of colors. That's one thing I always love seeing, is not just the models, but how people use the colors in them. So great job there. Next up, we have a print by none other than K2 Kevin, the Gridfinity Maker Chip Extraordinaire. Has modeled. He's also the modeler of the Rugged Big and Tall Bin collections for Gridfinity. The stuffiness is not helping. Available in Maker World, as all of his models are. I think there's only about 1,000 of them so far. So if you are into organization, you are into Gridfinity. Here's the mix. So all those tall things that those shallow bins, they just fall out of or overweight. Now you have an option for it. And last but not least, we have a print by Phantom Printer. This is the Chunky Venom Kit, modeled by Kit Kiln and available on things.com. He does a ton of chunky version characters. They're always great. And of course, Venom, recognizable by anybody. So just a fun print. But that's all of our prints. For those that are new here, those prints are shared on our Show Off Prints channel at discord.polymaker.com. You are free to share anything, your good prints, awesome prints, so-so prints, and your failures. Share away in there, and you might be featured on the next show. But what we're going to do now is break for some commercials, and then we're going to come back here and meet our next maker, so stay tuned.
Imagine owning some of the best songs about 3D printing this Discord has to offer. Polymaker presents 3D Printing Hits by Silverback and Little D. The best renditions of some of the greatest hits of all time. Hits like Hallelujah, Polly Smooth Criminal, All That She Wants Is Another Printer, Print Away,
There you go, print away.
Still the TD1, All About That Bag, No Stabbies, and Polyman.
It's a file tonight. We're all in the mood to see it extrude, 'cause you've got your printer tuned right.
Reserve your CD today with a special TV offer by going to polymaker.com and paying $39.99. Have your credit card ready. Seriously though, this music was a joke. Go buy some Polymaker.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch. I dropped it again from the 12th floor and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external conditions. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Have you had bad customer service with your filament provider? Have you ever gotten a bad spool and never got a response when you emailed the company? Well, that won't ever happen when you reach out to Polymaker. Some people say that no company cares about you. Wrong. 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 If you never got a response after emailing a company that you've worked with in the past, you may be entitled to better customer service. We at Polymaker pride ourselves on good customer service, and we won't ever keep you waiting for a response. Email us now at support@polymaker.com and we'll get back to you within 1 business day. We'll fight for you.
Oh, there we go. Froze for a second on me. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. So, first things first, are you creative? Do you have an idea for just a fun spoof commercial, a little fun, sarcastic filament commercial, really anything, not high production? You can submit that. You can submit it to me, and it might be used on the show. And if it is, you can win up to $100. Not up to. You can win $100 in Polymaker product. So if you're interested in that, we have the commercials channel over at discord.polymaker.com. Check it out. Basically gives you the rundown of what kind of format to use. And if you have a good idea, fun idea, submit it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work for the format and I don't use it. Best case scenario, I use it and you make $100 in filament, poly dryer, filament, whatever you want to mix it up. $100 worth of product. So definitely get that in. But we are not here to talk about that now. We are here to meet the next maker. And this next fella, you may have seen around the internets, the interwebs, the discords, all over the place. Pretty smart guy and known for his TikTok stardom. Let's go ahead and meet him. Danny of Neokoi Prince, the actual Danny of Neokoi Prince. How's it going, Danny?
It's going good. How are you tonight?
I am doing fantastic. Yeah, I've been better, but now that I see your face on screen, it's just that much better.
Heck yeah.
So welcome to the show. Of course, we like to start off with, most people probably know who you are, but for those that don't know who you are you and what do you do?
So my name is Danny. I draw cars and turn them into prints using HueForge. I do tutorials on HueForge. I do presentations on Polymaker's Discord for HueForge. That's primarily what I do. A lot of how-to and walkthrough videos with HueForge involved.
There we go. And you like to add like some humor and fun meme stuff to your videos too, right?
Have to have the memes. I mean, It wouldn't be interesting without the memes.
There you go. It's always fun. So let's take it back a notch and go back when you first got into 3D printing. When did you start and what really led you to starting into 3D printing?
So my first taste of 3D printing was back in high school. I was in robotics and our school had been given a grant to buy 2 3D printers. And so that was kind of my first taste of what this technology had to offer. And now, fast forward to becoming an adult, I bought an Ender 3 S1 Pro when I saw that, 3D printers had gotten so cheap. And that was about 2.5 years ago. And I've been printing ever since.
There you go. Was there anything that you, when you started printing, that you printed mostly? Like, of course, back then, maybe not necessarily dragons, but was there something you kind of gravitated towards?
Benchies. That was primarily calibrating that printer all the time.
Makes sense.
Primarily Benchy. So
now you're a Benchy pro, right? Actually, I don't know. Can we even say Benchy? We might be shut down if we say Benchy too many times.
Yeah, I like printing steamboats. There
you go. Steamboats. Now, of course, as you said, you're big into Hue Forge. You've helped out with that in their Discord and our Discord. What got you? When did you start with Hue Forge, and what interests you about it to get into that?
So I was like every other 3D printer, I would say, where you get your first printer and you print all of these really cool knickknacks and these trinkets, and then all of a sudden you run out of knickknacks and trinkets to print. You're like, what the heck should I print? And I was just browsing YouTube trying to find something that would be fun or interesting, a new project, and I stumbled upon Joel Telling's video on Hue Forge, and this was in July. Hue Forge had released to the public, I think, in June. And
Yep.
when I watched his video, Polymaker was doing a promotion for Hue Forge. So I was like, what the heck? I'll try this out. This is a really cool software. And I had just gotten my Bamboo P1P and an AMS. So I was really looking for something to multicolor print, but this was, Hue Forge was something completely new and completely different than the traditional multicolor prints that we had seen up until that point. And so yeah, I was immediately hooked and interested. And then as time progressed, probably in that first week, that Discord was super active, and it's still active to this day. But back then, it was popping off, and so I got to meet. Yeah, I got to meet Steve, who created Hue Forge, and the mod team and the admin team, and just kind of every night until 2-3 a.m. we were hanging out trying to make the software better and just BSing about what we could do with it and just everything. So met them and became great friends.
Now, being part of that Discord, do you have any achievements in that Discord that nobody else holds?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I have any achievements in that Discord.
I thought it wasn't. Did anything happen to you that you were the first to be something in that Discord?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you must mean the time I got banned and then promoted to admin of the Discord. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
The crazy turn of events, isn't it?
It is. It is. For people that don't know, Additive Adam, who was featured here on Meet the Polymaker recently, he likes to come down with the ban hammer for no reason, and
unprovoked, so, yeah, right?
Unprovoked, no reason at all. And then I got promoted to admin. He is something else.
So now, of course, like you said, is in the intro to a lot of your TikTok videos and everything, is that you draw cars and you print them in Hue Forge. Have you always been artistic and like to draw and sketch things, or is that something kind of you've picked up over the years?
No, I've been into drawing forever. Since I was young, I was in like different art contests when I was in elementary school, middle school.
Okay.
I kind of stopped drawing for a while in high school, into early adulthood, and then picked it back up as I, got into Hue Forge more heavily, and started designing. Originally, most of my designs were actually for an apparel business that I was trying to run during the pandemic, and that grew and failed. So I learned a lot from that business, but I still had those designs laying around and was able to then use them in Hue Forge. So
repurpose them then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, was it always, of course, as a younger kid, you probably draw a little bit of everything, but have you always gravitated towards drawing vehicles and things like that, or is that something kind of in teenage years you picked up?
No, I think that came more later in life as I got more into cars. I drew a little bit of everything at a younger age, but yeah, I think that later on, as I got into cars in general, and Japanese cars and stuff like that, had my first car. That was when the addiction to that kind of started.
The Fast and the Furious years.
Right. Fast and the Furious years. Yeah.
So what was your first Japanese, tuner car, or with JDM car?
A Honda CRX.
Ooh, the CRX, the old hatchback.
Yeah, the old hatchback. That
was
thing
it
was
the
just
SI,
a go-kart.
or was it just a standard?
No, it was just a standard, but it was a manual. And yeah, those cars were so tiny. They didn't even have power steering. They just, like, the wheels were so small. They were like, nah, you don't need power steering. So
at one point, I shortly owned a 1989 CRX SI, I think it was. It was an old one, but sold it to my brother for a profit, so it all worked out in the end.
There you go.
So now, do you still have that car, or is it long gone?
No, long gone. I blew that car up in like 4 months of owning it.
Have you owned any
The
other fun cars since then?
so previously, before I got into 3D printing, I had a Camaro, a 2000 Camaro,
Okay.
and that was my project car for 2 years. I met a really close friend through that car because he was the original owner of a Pontiac Firebird. And
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
for people that don't know, those are basically the same platform. They just look a little different. And so we worked on that car, every weekend for 2 years straight. And then, unfortunately, on a Fourth of July weekend, I was rear-ended, and then that car is rear-ended by an F-350 and pushed into the back of a Tacoma. So that car was just
That is
totaled.
terrible.
And luckily, me and my girlfriend, we were safe, and nobody got seriously injured. And after that, it was a toss up. It was like, do I want to get another project car with the insurance money, or do I want to get into a new hobby? And I live in the South where it's really hot and humid, and I did not want to be in the garage anymore on the weekends during the summertime.
Fair.
And so it was between drones and 3D printing, and the more I weighed the options, it was like, well, I could probably print a frame for a drone. So it was like, let's just get a 3D printer, and then the rest was history.
There you go. Now, is there anything in the future that you're looking to maybe get back into on cars, or it's kind of past that? And
That
the
phase
next
of my
car,
life is over. I'm okay. I'm okay.
the next
I
car is
don't
going
want
to
to
be a
go back.
minivan after you propose to your girlfriend, get married, have some kids, right?
My current car is a Camry. We went from a Camaro to a Camry, so
There you go.
that explains. I wanted to go to reliable.
The fuel mileage is a little bit better on the Camry, I'm sure.
Just a tad. Yeah, just a tad.
So now with Hue Forge, of course, like I said, you do the Hue Forge Ambassador program for us on our Discord. Do you help with any like the development and testing? I know, of course, Adam, we talked about doing. He does a lot of the bug testing. Do you help with development there and testing new features, suggesting things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work really close with them and do beta testing for the new features that are upcoming. I suggest new features, but not always taken into effect necessarily. A lot of new features are thrown at Steve every day. So
Oh, I'm sure.
um,
Yeah.
that software would be crazier if he took into account everybody's feature requests. But yeah, no, I help out a lot with that. And then doing the YouTube videos geared towards beginners, I think really help take a load off of Steve as well. So that's kind of where I try to play a part and helping
Yeah,
out
like
with
an
the software
intermediate.
development. Yeah, and just try to, because a lot of people, what happens is when they first try HueForge, it's really daunting, similar to like Photoshop or something. You pick it up, you try it, and you're like, I don't know what the heck's going on, and then you just never pick it up again. And so we found that to be a pretty frequent occurrence, like especially with me doing TikTok and different social medias, people would tell me that often. And so that's where I wanted to, reel it in and really help the beginners, the first timers, so that wouldn't happen, and to just kind of get their feet wet and get them inspired and help them,
Especially initially, yeah, that first experience goes a long term of how much they use the software, how much they really develop their skills with it. So got to jump in and just be brick walled. It's like, okay, next I'll find something else I can get into.
Absolutely. And plus, the more users that we have, the more creative ideas can come out of it. And I think that's the thing that I love to see, is how creative other people can get with that software, and what kind of uses that maybe we haven't even discovered yet that can be used with the software. So
that's even I think it was it Murph of not last year, but Murph of 2023 was the first time I really saw, because I didn't have anything printed HueForge wise. It was the first I started seeing all the astronauts and all that stuff, because it was at the Polymaker booth, and from that it was amazing to see that, and now to see what people come up with, and now they're adding the extra depth where the models, half the models coming out of the thing. You've done the TPU ones, right? TPU HueForges. Fold them up, roll them up. I think I'm surprised that hasn't taken off more for like the Dungeons and Dragons type people doing custom maps and things like that. But I mean, there's so many options, like you said. It's interesting to see everybody's take on it and what they do with it, and how they change it up a little bit every time.
Yeah, absolutely. You get a little bit of everybody's personality, and you get to see what they're into when they do HueForge. Yeah, it's like I really feel like we've only touched the surface of what can be accomplished with it. And that's why recently I did a tutorial video on hybrid hue forges. And like what you said, with a traditional 3D model coming out of a hue forge, or, slapping a hue forge onto a functional print, like, to show somebody how to do that now, it kind of opens up how creative people can get with maybe a functional design that was kind of plain and boring, as far as aesthetics goes. So
now with your hue forging doing yourself, obviously, like I said, you've done TPU. Do you mostly just use PLA, or have you dove into like PETG and ABS, or does it fully just matter what the TD is and you base it off of that?
PLA is the easiest because there are so many different colors of PLA. As you know, PLA is the most common 3D printing filament on the market by a large margin. So, every company, including Polymaker, probably has more colors in PLA than anything else. So you get, a wide variety of opacities and colors. So it really helps whenever you're trying to make a little bit more complicated hue forge. But I have experimented with PETG and obviously TPU, but the color variety is so small, and so there has to be a lot of experimentation done to figure out, if something's high or low TD, and then what colors work really well together and stuff. So.
Now, do you update your personal library in HueForge? So for those that don't know, HueForge allows you to, put your library, the filaments you have, your specific TDs for each one. Do you actually have your entire inventory in there, or do you just kind of go based of what's already saved in there by default?
No, I absolutely use my own filament library. So all of my own filaments are documented in there, whether it's ABS, PETG, TPU. I never know what I'm going to want to hue forge with. So, and then it also helps me keep track of what filament I have on hand. So I use it as like an inventory as well.
Oh, there you go. So, yeah, that's not a bad idea. So of course we can see some of that filament behind you. How many spools of filament do you think you have on inventory at the current time?
A lot. I don't like 200. I think I'm at 200 plus, maybe.
Just a few options, right?
Just a couple. I've still got some more coming as well. You can never have enough filament, right? That's.
I say that all the time, and even
in my position, I know you do.
You still can't have enough.
Yeah.
Now with printer wise, I know you said the P1S for the AMS combo. Have you found yourself using those more just out of convenience, and have you built that farm up? Like, what's your current setup consist of that you actively use?
So I have a P1P that is enclosed. I have a P1S, and then I have an A1 Mini, and then I have a resin printer and some other mismatched printers. But the Bamboo Lab printers, I had gotten into the ecosystem pretty early on in my 3D printing, and so I just kind of stuck with it. They are very convenient whenever you're doing PLA hue forges. They're not a necessity though, because hue forge is all swap bilayer. So you can do a hue forge on an Ender 3, which I've also done in the past. Like with my A1 Mini, I don't even have an AMS light on that. That is strictly for my TPU hue forges. So it depends. And then in the future, I'm planning on building my first Voron 2.4. And I was also looking at just different manufacturers. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people bring to the table this year when it comes to printers. But I'm definitely looking at, I'm very excited to see what everybody is bringing. So I'm potentially switching over to a new printer brand as my main printer, but we'll see.
Is there what happens. Anything specific that you're looking for in a new printer? Are you looking more, I want a large build size, or I want this or that? Like, what are you hoping for that comes out this year?
Something we haven't seen before. Also, the only thing that I need is a bigger printer. I mean, it would be nice to have the 350 by 350. That's why I plan on building a 2.4, and I just love building and assembling things. So I think that would be a fun project for me. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I just need a bigger build plate, and the Box Turtle just came out. And so I think that would be a really fun platform. And then if somebody brings something completely brand new that we've never seen, I think that'll be a fun change. I don't know. The consumer doesn't know what they want, right, until it's there. So
until it's in front of them. Yep, exactly.
Right. I'm just waiting for somebody to wow me.
So then with your Voron, do you know what size you're wanting to try to shoot for once you do start that project, or is it kind of depends when you start it?
Definitely a 350, like no doubt about it. I've already picked out the tool heads, and I plan on doing a stealth changer. The
Okay, awesome.
yeah, the multi-tool head for people that may not know. So yeah, plan on doing that in the future as I learn more about Clipper and mainsail, and everything else, that all the fun ins and outs of building your own printer.
Once you get that nice, consistent, reliable base platform.
Right. That's the main goal right now. Try not to bite off too much, and just build the first printer, and then we'll add the tool heads.
Make sure it works with one tool head before you add more. Would
Right.
you be going for like a 5 or a 6 tool head? 'Cause I think you do 6 on a 350, right?
You can do. I think you can do up to 7.
Oh, 7 even. Okay.
Whatever the max amount I can do, I'll probably end up doing, but it'll be a slow process of adding one, because those tool heads do add up pretty quickly in price.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Just
depending
that
on
whole
what
adage
product.
of go big or go home, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. My credit card doesn't like that, but that's
You know what? You make the money to spend the money is what I say. So
sure.
and you're still
That makes
young.
sense.
You're what, 21 years old, so
Yeah, I just turned 14 last year or something.
14.
Yeah.
So now with this year, starting to roll out, are you planning to be at any of the Rep Rap festivals upcoming, or?
Yeah, my flight and booking plans are already done for Rocky Mountain, so I'll be there working the Hue Forge booth, walking around, filming the event, and so I'm looking forward to that. Getting to see everybody, at these events is super fun and
Oh, yes,
enjoyable,
very much.
and getting to see new technologies that these companies are coming out with, or new filament that's coming out. It's always a good time to hang out with everybody.
Oh yeah, no, definitely looking forward to it. Is it something, do you plan far ahead enough to see if that you plan on doing any other ones, or is it kind of just what presents itself?
I try to do it one event at a time. You never know what's going to come up, especially with, I want to go to Smurf, and I think that they backed it up to February. I don't think it's going to be in December this year, so I think that we're not going to have an event for Smurf until 26.
Okay.
So that's the next big one that I plan on doing. That'll be more of a vacation trip, because I've never traveled outside of the country, outside of the US. So I think me and my girl spend, a couple weeks over there rather than just the event weekend. So we'll see.
Make the
But
most
that'll be
out
a
of
fun
it.
trip. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now with all the car stuff and everything else, do you make a business out of that? Kind of, I know you have a full-time job, but do you do any like commissions, or selling other prints that you do, or?
I take commissions whenever people come to me and they ask if I can draw their card, do a custom backdrop. Like, that's perfectly okay. I also have my Patreon and things for anybody that wants commercial rights to my designs, but I don't try to sell my designs anymore. It's just, it was a lot to handle as far as logistics and all that stuff, and trying to market it myself. I've got so much on my plate doing content creation now, and
The full-time job, and girlfriend,
full-time
full-time
job.
job, content
Right.
creation, and then trying to manage printing, like you said, shipping out everything and not skipping a beat somewhere. So no, I completely understand. Now is that for like commission, like somebody that's interested in having their car drawn, do they usually just provide you a picture, and then like through what means would they do to go about getting something like that done?
So typically I'll just have them, they usually reach out to me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and I'll just have them email me a picture of their car that they want cartooned,
Yeah.
and then they tell me whatever backdrop they want, and I work with them on all of that. And sometimes they're 3D printers themselves, so I'll just send them the files, and I'll try to work with them on what filaments they may have, so that we can get the best looking Hue Forge.
Color.
And if they don't 3D print, I've had more customers that don't. They'll just ask me to print it and send it to them. So it just depends.
So basically, you create the digital image, and then they can either send it to them or print it and send it to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah, so anybody interested there is I don't know. Have you ever done a Dodge SRT4? It's
I was actually I was looking at doing that the other day. Not gonna lie, it is on the list. It's on the radar.
I'll have to keep my eyes peeled though. I've still got mine, my '03 sitting out in my driveway rusting away, unfortunately.
Yeah, but don't you have a son that has one working?
Yeah. Yeah, he bought one same year, same color, everything else. So yeah, that's
Nice.
at his place though. So I don't get to play with it that often.
You can live vicariously through him though. So
There you go. Yep. Yep. So as long as you just keep the upkeep, then we're good to go. Change oil when you're supposed to, and yeah, Ajax. Yeah, yes, it is. It's a neon platform for sure.
yeah, it is a neon.
Yep. And Sean
That thing's
known
very
it's
fun.
Ohio Rust. Yeah, it's the neon rust too. It's known for.
Yeah,
But
true.
we're getting close to the end here. So if anybody has any questions for Danny in the community, YouTube, Twitch, definitely throw those questions out there now, and we'll address them here shortly. But is there any upcoming projects or anything that you're working on that you're able to share, or what you're getting into?
There's going to be a really cool display at Rocky Mountain at the Hugh Forge booth. I don't want to say anything more than that, but everybody on the team is working on that project right now.
So,
It's a bit of a surprise, but
I think Steve, I've every rep that I've seen him at and been able to see all the booths is he does the same thing that we like to do is go bigger and better every time. So I can only imagine what's next. And again, the same with the creations of whether it's his brain, other people's brains put together of all the different displays, like for Formnext, the paintings that he did for him and Ian worked on for Polymaker's booth. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, they're just absolutely amazing. So yeah, I can only imagine, because I think even the wrap of the year before he did a whole stone tile overlap of our archway, and yeah, so the I hate to always sound cliche, especially in 3D printing, is the sky's the limit. And I think with HueForge, yeah, I can imagine what you guys are doing. So you might have to poke and prod here to figure out what it is.
Yeah,
I'll wait till after the show.
It's fun being at rep festivals, and you have people that may not know about HueForge, and they come to the booth and they're like, "Why are you guys here?" Because they think it's just like 2D printed
Paintings
objects. Yeah, and then you hand it to them, and they're like, "Wait a second!" Like,
especially too when you're like when you get to the whole point of explaining how simple it is. Like, oh no, this isn't. It doesn't require the AMS. Like, oh, you're doing like 8 AMSs all connected together. Like, no, no, this is just layer by layer. You have an Ender 3, you can do this exact same thing, and it'll turn out the exact same way. And I think people are amazed, because of course we have HueForges at our booth too, and people are still amazed that walk up and then like, can I pick it up? Like they pick it up, like how does it do that? It's just magic. It's called printing magic.
It definitely feels like magic the first time that you feel one. It's hard to get the full picture on on social media and through pictures. But once you feel one, that's when it changes the perspective of like, oh, this is really cool. So
yeah, definitely a cool program to be part of and be associated with. And yeah, of course you see all the really cool features before everybody else does, so that's even better.
This is true. We were just working on it before the show. We're talking about different features coming out.
Always something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep,
let's see here. Does anybody have any questions for Danny before I hit him with the in-depth rapid fire? Sure, I have everything else going here. That is going there. Okay. Excuse me for the coughing. Man, I'm glad I have a mute button. Yeah, we talked earlier before the show is, as I talk more, I get more congested and nasally, and I can feel it. I can feel it building up.
Yep.
So we're coming to the precipice. Steve, say what again? Is the audio off for anyone else? Audio for me or audio for Danny? Testing. 1, 2, 3.
I hear you on my end.
Yeah, I think something about syncing the audio sync. But Pezlis does have a question. How high do his rep racks reach?
All the way to the ceiling. Let's see. We can. There we go.
There you go. With little car HueForges right in the center. Everything looks good.
Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, so I've basically run out of room for filament, so I have more coming. So I got to figure out where I'm going to hang more racks. That's a problem for another day, though. We'll deal with that later.
Let's see here. We got Joseph Carver over on YouTube. Does ASA work for Hue Forges?
Absolutely. ABS is actually nice for Hue Forge because you get a better flow out of ABS. We have an admin that is only an ABS printer, and so he prints with ASA as well. But yeah, he's well known. He made this little device that's okay, I guess. He made it's called a TD1 that measures the transmission distance and color of your filament. Anyways, enough about him.
Yeah. What's his name? Who's that guy?
Who's that guy? Yeah, ASA works great.
There you go. Layer by Layer asks, how's the air up there?
Thin. Next.
Yeah, next. Builder's Mark is not a question, but he suggests hanging filament from the ceiling. You're going to get a little drop bar down and put them all there.
I've heard that from so many people. My head will hit all of them. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
I can't.
that's the problem. Guys, he doesn't have 12-foot ceilings, okay? If he puts filament even at the very top, his head's still going to hit it.
Honestly, if I jump, it's game over. It's a concussion immediately.
Well, you're not supposed to be jumping around your printing room.
Why not? I jump for joy.
Oh, there you go. Well, let's see. I don't see any other ones in there. So before I completely plug up here, we'll end it with some rapid fire questions. First up, we always like to ask, what is your favorite filament? Color, surface effect, etc.
So my favorite filaments would have to be more transparent filaments. Not necessarily transparent that you can see through, but less opaque, somewhere in between transparent and opaque, because you can get some really cool blending effects with HueForge. And like, let's say you have a red and then you stack a more transparent yellow on top, it'll look orange when you print it. So those are really cool to mess around with. For
the blending. Oh yeah. Okay. And then next question, what print are you most proud of?
That's a good question. I don't know. I made a guitar for my brother. I think that would have to be the most proud I am of any print that I've done, because it was such a giant print, and putting it together, it came out really good. But that was a really fun project.
Yeah, that's the best part of those types of prints, like you said, is once you assemble it and everything is just there and it's finished, and it's like, even better when it's a gift. So
yeah,
good choice there. Okay, now we've talked, of course, you're a car guy, you like your cars. If you were given a car with a 2JZ engine, would you overnight the parts from Japan?
Yes.
Yes. Would you spend 15 grand or more?
Yes. Do I have unlimited money? Yes. All the above. Yes. All the above. That's not a question.
There we go. So next question, what engine would be best for my Skyline? A Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24? I'm hoping somebody in the audience gets these.
Gallon of 12, I guess.
No. Pizza places don't make engines, man. Fast and Furious reference for those that don't know. I think it's Fast and Furious 2 or no, is it 1?
Yeah, that was Too Fast.
When they're trying to partner Brian up with a new partner, and he asks him, he's got a Gallo Pizzeria cup in his hand. He's like, what's better, a Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24 for my Skyline? Gallo 24? Pizza places don't make engines. Anyway, that was my fun jab at the tuner market. But so let's say I want to learn more about HueForge and would love a live Q&A. Do you know a place and a time and somebody that I can watch?
Yeah, so if you go over to HueForge's Discord, they have office hours every once in a while where you can ask questions. I figured that was be thrown in there. No, you can go to Polymaker's Discord. We do talks. Me and Additive Adam do ambassador talks and hangouts where you can ask questions live, where we walk through HueForge and show you how to use it and what you can do with it. So definitely check that out.
And the HueForge Discord is also super friendly. The plus side with the Polymaker one is if you haven't bought the software yet, you can kind of learn about it before buying it. But why wouldn't you buy it now? Because you get it for free pretty much. Get a coupon for Polymaker filament for the same price as the consumer standard license. But Danny's at both places, so you can track him down anywhere there and ask him any question you like.
Yep.
So other than that, I can give you the stage for just a moment. Is there any websites, socials? Where can people find you, follow you, and see what you're doing?
If you want to follow me, I have a social media account on just about every social media platform. I do short form video over on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and then on YouTube, I'm also starting to do more long form. You can find me at Neokoi Prince, Linktree/Neokoi Prince also. So yeah, there's a bunch of different places you can find me.
All over the place. And again, he's a TikTok star, so once you see him once, he's probably gonna show up on your For You page, so you might as well just follow him anyway. But that is it. I'll let you go for the night. I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. It's always fun to talk to you, whether on the show or in the Discord. So I will see you around, and you have yourself a good night, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
And thank you. See ya.
See ya.
Okay, everybody, that is it for the show. Sorry for the energy and the nasalness and everything else, and probably the heavy bags under my eyes. But they're always there anyway. It's just might be more prominent today. But we are here every Thursday. We do the show every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always sharing news, showing off prints, and meeting fun people like Danny. And he's been a very solid guy, a positive guy for the community. Always willing to help, and knows his Hue Forge stuff. So definitely hit him up if you guys have any commissions on cars that you want drawn, and go follow him on all the socials. Like I said, it's very fun content. It's actually very helpful content, but it's also fun. Like I said, he does the meme stuff and the joke stuff, and that's the kind of content I like. If it's what you like, yeah, definitely check him out if you haven't already. But if you haven't yet, go ahead and make sure to type in, why do I have that hidden on here? There we go. Type in I am awesome. And that is going to be, why do I have everything turned off of this screen? But type in I am awesome in the chat. If you have not done so yet, we're getting ready to give away a spool of filament here. But before we do that, let's talk about some projects we have going on. We have extended Polymaker figurines. It is now in version 2, doing the next, I think, 100 iterations of Pokemon. And he's already been doing that since the beginning of the year, pumping them out. And that is the Polymaker figurines on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Every time that he releases a video, that model does become available on Maker World. I haven't checked today. I know we were behind a little bit on those models becoming available. Excuse me. So we were a little bit behind on those models. If they're not yet available, they are going to be available. We're just getting them up there. So do apologize if you've been looking for them. We are doing the same form as we were last year. Anytime that the video's out, you'll get that model for free in multicolor and standard over on Maker World, and that's going to be Anchois Figurines is the account. So just search them over there. Anchois is Anchois Dimensions. I still can't. I don't know why my mind can't remember the proper pronunciation. But go follow him. He's an awesome guy doing awesome content. He does a great job with that. But we also have Creatrix Brit, who heads off the Polymaker Education. Also doing videos on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube under Polymaker_education. And those prints that she shows off for educational purposes are then made available for free for you to use personally in your daycares and your schools, however you see fit. And it always has a little bit of extra knowledge in there and learning bits on the video, not just the model itself. So go give her a follow there. Always fun to see what the next creation is. I think that we're having some kits coming out soon. So for different professions and everything. So you have like kind of multiple pieces to it. Fun stuff to print, whether it be just even to play around with the kids or to teach them stuff. And then finally, we do have Pezliz over at twitch.tv/Pezliz, who does the show sponsored by Polymaker in printing color, where she goes over the vast, the vast world of color that Polymaker does have, and we're extending that. There's a pretty high goal set for the new colors that we're trying to produce for this year. So stay tuned. She's going to have her hands full once that the production starts running on some of those new things. I think you guys will love what we have coming. But again, she does that show every Wednesday, and it alternates on time. So just check her out at twitch.tv/Pezliz. But we are going to go ahead and get ready to get this giveaway under wraps here, while I also figure out who we're going to raid to before I fully lose all ability to talk or breathe. That's the other thing. You ever tried doing a show where you talk a lot or not even a show. Do you ever do a thing where you talk a lot and you can't breathe through your nose? So you have to like talk fast just so you can get to that next breath. It's a fun time. Okay, but make sure to enter in I am awesome in the chat right now. We're going to raid out to somebody out there that is doing 3D printing. Hey, Polymaker 3D's live. We can go raid them. I heard they're pretty awesome. Let's see here. What are we working on over here? Ooh, LEDs. Caught my eye. We're going to we're gonna raid out after we do this drawing to Kite Crafter. I seen pretty LEDs, so I was captivated. Won me over. I'm like a child in a candy store. Okay, there we go. Set that up for. So we are getting ready to do the drawing. We'll give you a few more seconds to put that in there. Just remember, everybody, we are here every single Thursday, 47 Thursdays in a row, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come join us if you like what you see. Usually there's a little bit more energy, a little bit more smiles, and a little less nasally, like I'm plugging my nose. But I appreciate everybody's support from the beginning up until now, whether you've been here for almost a year, 1 month, or even just one day. Thank you for coming. We'll be back here next week, so I definitely hope to see you then. Let's do that drawing right about now. And around and around the wheel spins. What is going to happen in the end? Didn't even try that. Look at that. Daddy Wazzy the Creator. I've heard of that guy. I'm going to call rigged. Definitely rigged. That guy, he cheated the system somehow. I'll have our guys look into it. Just, I don't know how that happens. Exactly, Bearded Printer. Rigged. Everybody rigged in chat. Daddy Wazzy. Yeah. He's figured out the algorithm, but yeah, well, we'll look into it. I'm not even going to give you the instructions on how to redeem it. You're going to have to figure it out yourself, Daddy Wazzy. I think you'll be able to figure it. So with that said, we're going to read out the Kite Crafter. Go show our love. Tell him hello from Polymaker. And again, you guys have a good night, a good weekend, and a good week. And I hope to see you next week.
Thank you.